We're Bat Minute 89. Hello and welcome once again to Bat Minute 89, the show that loves a good party 3 days a week, at least. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I am the other host, Niall McGowan.
Hello.
Hello, John. Oh, it's nice, another Monday. Someone's got a case of the Mondays over here.
Well, we're cheering up everybody listening on this horrible Monday I'm sure you're all having. And we're improving it, and we've brought a special guest along because we are joined by Brady Crane of Pele Media.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me on. It's good to be back in the movies by minutes thing. I really miss being here. And actually, I caught your little reference to Office Space a minute ago with the Case of the Mondays thing. That was actually going to be one of the next movies I was going to do before I took off. We were going to do that and Usual Suspects. But it's just life gets in the way, stuff like this. Or excuses. I don't know, either one.
It's just like doing the Usual Suspects now, too, is just like, okay, not one, but two people associated with this film have had been involved in some horrific scandals in the past couple of months. So it's like, well, should we just do one episode where we just talk about that and get out of the way? Or are we going to have to bring it up every damn week?
Yeah. Maybe wait for that to settle down a little while. But we need you back in the game.
Oh, man, I'd love to. You know, doing three of them. Let's see, that was Jurassic Park Minute, Goonies Minute, and Ghostbusters Minute, all within about, I think, like 9 months of each other. On top of a sports podcast that I was producing as well. It was just, eating into real life, everyday life, and I just, couldn't really handle it. So I decided to pull the plug on the thing. And I don't know, man, I still toy around with the idea of coming back and doing some more movies by minute stuff because it's just so much fun. But I don't know. In the meantime, I'm just gonna keep listening to Bat Minute 89 and get my fill that way. Yeah, exactly.
And everyone listening, do the same thing. Just keep on coming back for more. Anyway, this is minute 85. And the minute starts with the postponement of the Gotham Gala, and it ends with Joker about to reveal his upcoming midnight surprise.
And this is one of the saddest moments to have to witness what the mayor's about to announce. Like, after all this time, after all the planning, after all the dreams of the hot dogs and the balloons and the whole schmear, and they're all, they're marching out as if they're in, like, funeral clothes. This is like, you imagine, like, Mrs. Borg has got, like, a black veil on behind her.
Seriously, this is the biggest thing in this guy's life right now, no hot dogs.
It's troubling him. He can't just go and get them from anywhere, seemingly, in this city. No, he needs the gala to happen for the hot dogs. Yeah. And you're right, he looks miserable. Everybody just looks depressed.
They really do, man. I would have loved to have heard his entire speech and seen if it was just about the things that were seemingly so important to him, hot dogs and balloons. Like, I'm sorry, everyone, we can't have those. Good night. So. The
rest of the gala is fine, but he's not interested in that. Oh, no.
I like the idea, too, that, like, because Harvey Dent's got his hands in his pockets, so he looks kind of mildly irritated, as if he's been, like, he was in the middle of, like, researching a major case. And it's just like, the mayor's doing the speech about how the parade's not on. You better get down there. Like, oh, for God's sake! All right, jeez. And like after all the crap he had to do, like the mayor coming directly to him to talk about this parade is going ahead as planned, when Harvey Dent has nothing to do with that. And now he's interrupted from work again to come out and stand next to him while he tells people that the parade's not going to happen.
How dare they?
I am impressed, though, that the Borg here, in transmitting his demands to the Federation... Oh, sorry, wait, no. No, but he is... it's about time. He's finally averting his fate of becoming Jaws Mayor number 2. Because this thing should have been stopped a long time ago. I don't know why he's waited until now.
The mayor of Jaws, too.
No.
Was there a different mayor in Jaws, too? Or?
Oh, my God, no.
You got to think too, like living in Gotham City or running Gotham City in that case. Like, is it like what is it going to take for the city officials to say, okay, let's not go through with this? These guys are so accustomed to things going wrong on a daily basis that they just kind of have to wait till it gets to a certain point until they say, okay, let's not do this. And just killing a bunch of people in a public museum wasn't enough. So
it took a little bit extra to push it.
Yeah, exactly. Living in Gotham City must really suck.
Well, that's actually one of the things of this is that the scene it had more of a build up actually in the original, the other versions of the script. Like we talked last week that there's a missing scene here where there was supposed to be a big chase that introduced Robin, and at one point there was either going to be the flying Graysons or like a giant Joker statue that was replacing the jaunty Gotham statue. It was a big set piece where the mayor was supposed to be there and see that the Joker was still in power and whatnot. And it kind of that adds to this coming because it's like him coming out going, oh yeah, this is there's no hope. We're gonna have to just cancel this parade. Although at this point, like the Gotham's like within this actual film, Gotham's almost in more of an upswing because like we cracked the chemical code, so the Joker's kind of taken care of for the time being. But it seems as if without that something else happening in between, there's not much more of a reason for him to come out to postpone the parade.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So it's more like it's one of those things like, I took that out, and it's like, you wouldn't really notice it, but I think there was supposed to be a bit more of a like, there's no hope left, there's nothing we can do, this is why he's doing this, that kind of thing. Instead of just been like, we solved that problem, but we better just cancel this parade anyway.
What are your thoughts on the Sam Hamm script? Like, what do you think that movie would have been like if they just had completely made it?
I think we've gone through like the various changes, like over obviously minute by minute, and there's some things like I would have definitely kept in and I loved, and then there's other things that we've had to go like, that would have been stupid and stuff.
I think the majority are the latter, to be honest. I think most of the changes are good. There's a few things, as you say, that would have really been interesting, but the majority of it, it's just sort of tightening it up. Like you don't need all kinds of things like you're bringing up the Graysons. It's too much. Too much. Yeah. You want to keep it simple.
Yeah, I was going to do one of my most oft-quoted lines from The Dark Knight there that no one ever gets because it's not one of the big ones, but it's just that bit of Eric Roberts standing outside Harvey Dent's room going, all this craziness is too much. It's too much. I always do that, and people are like, "What's awesome. That?" Like, what's...
Even I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it's one of the cool things about not just screenwriting, but writing in general is you can just build this you can have this huge block of clay that you get for yourself, and it's the more you whittle it down, the more you shave off, the better it's going to end up looking. And you get to a point where you've got. A movie that's, I don't know, man, something, okay, well, I really like Batman, this movie that we're covering, and I think that if you, exactly, yeah. No, it's, but you can see, I guess, Sam Hamm's screenplay being that just big blob of clay, and then what they finally got was this movie. So it's just this is a really good example of I don't know, that problem.
And it's a good combination of different ideas and people because, of course, Tim Burton comes from a completely different perspective. And then the next one, although the next one is my favorite film, it's the most Tim Burton film. It's not as close to a Batman thing, whereas this is more like a mesh of everyone's ideas and opinions.
Let me ask you something on that note. Do you think that's a good thing, that benefits it? I mean, obviously, it's a different movie, and it definitely benefited Batman Returns, but do you think the kind of overly Tim Burtonishness might have affected this movie in a bad way?
I've not really thought about that. To me, it's all a positive because I come to Batman from a movie sort of background, movie perspective. I wasn't a comic book fan first or anything. I watched this first and discovered the character. Yeah. So to me, it's all positive. But maybe Niall, you're a bit different there.
No, I don't think it had any negative effects that I would put forward at all. Like I think that anything negative that comes from this film is very much because of the fact that they were having to rewrite it as they went, and there was in the middle of a writer's strike, and we'll get into it later, but apparently John Peters pretty much claims that he wrote the final act himself. Like this kind of studio interference where, like we've covered in the past, that Mac McDonald, who was one of the Joker's goons, would have said that at the beginning it was amazing because Tim was so fun to work with and he was so vibrant and like, this is gonna be great. And then the suits arrived, and apparently after that, like he said, they noticeably wore him down to the point where he's just like, just get this movie over.
John Peters he's a real case too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think you guys may have talked about it. Have you ever seen the documentary? What's it called? It's about Superman Lives, Tim Burton's.
Oh, the death of Superman Lives, I think it's called.
Yes, the interview with him is bat crazy. No pun intended. That guy, Jesus. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no problem. But no, I don't think any. I think in this movie it works. Like, I don't mind the hodgepodge of like, oh, it's all this 1940s aesthetics, and here's a bit of Prince on top of that, and all this. I think that works great. But I would say Batman Returns, though, was a bit, because it's so noticeably more of like, oh, they've just given this guy free reign. Maybe that one. I mean, that's all stuff we'll have to talk about when we cover that movie. About like,
save it.
Yeah, we'll get to that eventually, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well,
stylistically, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. You go ahead.
Well, no, just the stylistically, all the like sort of dark deco, I think, as they called it for the animated series, and just all the kind of Urte style carrying over into the cartoon was such a blessing. I mean, it makes that cartoon what it is, I think.
Oh yeah, even me,
such a masterpiece.
I haven't seen a lot of it, but even I, if I see a still that doesn't contain Batman, I instantly know what cartoon it is. Like, it's very distinctive. You can just pick it out straight away. Yeah,
it's great.
Although, Niall, when you said that the suits arrived, that takes me back to the minute.
It's back! It's back, baby!
Nice.
It's back. It takes me back to the minute because Joker arrives. He interrupts with his own broadcast. And I especially love the way he introduces himself to Gotham with Joker here. Like, he's really committed to the name change, hasn't he? Like, he's Joker. He's not the Joker, as we've said.
Just Joker. Yeah. I remember you covering that in a previous episode, and how it does make kind of a difference. That's something I never thought about before.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't until we sort of started chatting about it either. I'd never even noticed that he doesn't say the Joker.
But
the Joker.
I do love as well that he does the patented, reality TV show kind of thing of like the camera's on him and he's like not looking at it, and it's just like, oh, kind of like that. I didn't see you come in. Like,
I've done that before when I made a short film. I thought I'd do the intro credits like that for every character. They'd like turn. I thought it'd be a bit like a 90s TV show. They'd turn to camera and it would freeze frame and bring their name up.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Anytime I see something like that. Okay, now we're gonna get really nerdy here with our love for Frasier. But do you remember the episode, The Candidate, where he's doing the little TV endorsement that they're filming in his apartment? And he spins around in his chair looking at the camera. Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. And then just starts telling his whole... Anyway, back to Batman.
To be honest, we could just as easily do a Frasier show on the side with Niall here, especially.
Oh, yeah, of course. Like, that's what you want to do. We can start it right now. Like, let's go.
Let's go, baby. Let's do this.
Swerving into it. Yeah. So, minute 1 of Frasier, episode 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my God, no.
Jesus.
We'd be there for years.
But
yes,
yeah.
So Joker,
you do get that. I love this whole setup he's got going on, where he's got like the kind of cardigan, and it's like he's put on the flesh. It's the return of Flesh Joker, as Neil Brown called him.
Who's that? Frasier?
Flesh Joker. Yeah, that's our new favorite name for him.
And it's just the fact that he's trying as he as much as he can to look like a wholesome, normal person. I'm like, look, it's me. It's your Uncle Joker here. Like, he's got like the bit of like a fire in the background, and it just looks really. It's like a played political broadcast of just like, my fellow Americans, and like that kind of. The only thing is, like, I wish they had done more. Like, I wish he was really kind of taking the piss with it, and it was like him sitting with like a baby lamb, feeding it milk or something, and like really like laying it on thick.
Yeah, I got the impression he's going to offer you like a butterscotch candy at any moment, out of his pocket.
I don't know that would have made it. I don't know that would have made it more friendly or just creepier.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'd be creepy.
Feeding a baby lamb or something.
The thing is, though, as try as he might, though, the whole like, I just want to come across like a normal guy. The big black leather gloves are still like what's up with the gloves? Like, why is he wearing these gloves the whole time? It's like, you think he'd just be like, all right, I'll put the hand makeup on for this one bit, but it's like, nah, it's not going to work. I'm going to have to wear these.
Yeah, it's from enough of a distance, and it's on an old television. No one would know. No one could tell.
Here's a question I've always had. So whenever so we're in like the news van or whatever, and we're seeing the different monitors. The ones on the left are showing the city officials speaking. One on the right is the Joker. And then when he starts speaking, all the city officials look over in the direction of the Joker on his monitor.
Yes.
Where the hell are they looking in real life? Are there monitors off to the side of the microphones and everything? Or is this just like, okay, we're just going to spoon feed the idiots in the audience here and we're going to have them look in the direction of where the Joker's going to be sitting?
I had the same question. I couldn't figure out what they were doing. Like, it doesn't show that they've got a screen to the side. I'm assuming that's what it is. But you think they would show them actually looking?
Would show that? Yes, would it have been that hard to shoot? Come on. Hey.
But like, I kind of love that, though. I love the fact that it's, even if it was, it's like, no, they're all just looking just in some kind of magical way that they all, for some reason, are looking to their left as if they know he's there.
Well, and again, Joker has hijacked the airwaves here. Now, although at this point, I was assuming that maybe they want him to broadcast it, because surely they could cut him off.
Well,
you must be able to. So maybe they want him to broadcast, though, because they've got almost no information or leads or anything on this guy. So this might actually help the police.
You know, and absolutely. You know, at the time of this recording, I think it was like 3 or 4 days ago, I believe it was the 30th anniversary of a pirated, like an interference of an episode of Doctor Who that was playing. Ooh. And all of a sudden, this transmission of somebody in a Max Headroom mask, just, you know what I'm talking about, for like 3 or 4 minutes is sitting there just like laughing into the camera, and he can't understand what he's saying.
We've actually, when Scott Corelli was on, during the Joker's previous interruption of the broadcast, we talked about that as well. Yeah.
Hey, I completely forgot we talked about that. So those
are really good episodes.
Yeah, it was during one of the Legend of Fang Rock. I remember it was the Doctor Who thing, because like but then when that episode aired, it was like, I'll put it up in the Listener Society so people.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of reminded me that you got to have a pretty powerful signal in order to do something like that.
Yeah.
And strange as the transmission may have been, it was still like, thank God they just left it as they did. You know, I
also noticed this as well, though, because the Joker transmitting his plans is just a tried and true thing that he always does, and it's come up countless times in the comics and cartoons and stuff. But we've noticed like there's certain parallels between this movie and The Dark Knight. There's obviously like the mobster meeting and things like that, and even at the end it's like, how do they take care of the Joker? Like, you throw him off a building. Like that's the way you take care of him. But
the only way.
Yeah. But even this is just like, because this is now you're approaching the final kind of act of the whole film. And it's, in The Dark Knight, like in this is like the Joker announcing his plans for what he's going to dump all this cash in town. And then around this time in The Dark Knight, it would have been when the Joker burns all the money and he calls up the news station to be like, oh, here's what I'm going to do now. And it's kind of like, it's just like, this is the pattern these movies follow. It's like, well, we got like, 40 minutes left? Yep, Joker's got a call to tell people what he's going to do next.
You've got to wonder how, there's no way that the Nolans could have just missed that. And whenever he calls in The Dark Knight and says, basically calls Batman out and says, if you don't step forward, people are going to die. And in this, he's saying, let's see if you can take off your makeup. Yeah. And then of course, talking to the mobsters, telling them how it's going to be from now on and whatnot. It's all over it. It's all over it. And that's cool. And then even at the very end, which spoilers, the Joker's out in the streets and basically come at me, bro, like fly your plane right into me. And then after he flips the 18-wheeler, in the movie, he's doing the same thing. It's all over the movie. And it's not so distracting that I'm thinking about it as I'm watching it, because they're both so good,
Oh, yeah.
But,
it does it in a different way, I think. It's the same kind of DNA, the same elements, but used differently. And that's what's cool, that there is a connection there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've heard Jonathan Nolan actually speak highly of this film. Hey. And even Heath Ledger. I mean, have you heard otherwise? Or?
No, I think Heath was very. I think all the Nolan crew were very respectful. Like, there's no one coming in going, that was stupid Michael Keaton movie.
Well, yeah, exactly. But he was talking about how the Jack Napier thing, he would have loved to have seen more of that, which I totally agree with.
Yeah,
that's my favorite part of this film, actually, and I'm glad I'm going to be able to cover some of the young Napier stuff upcoming minutes. But yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Nah, nobody cares. We've all seen
Whoops.
this.
But then, get analyzing what the Joker says here, because this is like a guy, like, I don't know what his game is here. Like, if you actually break down what he's saying, So he's all talking about like, oh, a bunch of things have been said, and some of which were true under that fiend boss Grissom. And it's kind of like, is he trying to pass the buck on to like, oh, everything that happened here recently, that was all Grissom? Even though we were saying that, like, it seemed as if he was trying to announce he was the big shot with the thing outside and the steps and saying Grissom was gone and he had taken over everything. And now it's kind of like he's backpedaling into like, oh, that was all him. And then even he has to kind of go like, well, he's dead now and left me in charge. So things are going to be different. And it's like, some of he's coming out with things later like, oh, one thing I am not is a killer. It's like, you broadcast yourself next to dead bodies. Like, you were definitely, people know that you kill people.
That's what I didn't understand, because he initially confirms the belief that he's theatrical and whatnot. But how would they know that he's theatrical, right? Because that's his actual words, which I assume was because of the whole Brand X thing.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Oh, look, he's going. But then in that case, they do know that he's a killer. Yeah. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but that's how little concern these people have. As soon as they hear I'm going to be dumping $20 million in cash, they're like, we don't care who you are, just give us the money.
Yeah.
So.
And imagine like how little of that cash would you get as an individual anyway? Because the whole of Gotham's going to be out. You're going to be getting $100, maybe. Other people will be fighting you for it. It's not worth the hassle. Don't do it, people. Don't go.
I really wish I could be on for some future minutes and the parade. Trying not to get into spoilers or anything, but like, did you guys ever read the comic adaptation of this movie?
We come across it, yeah. We don't actually have a copy of it because it's a bit difficult to get these days. But
yeah, I remember having it a long time ago as a kid. God knows where it is now.
No,
but there were some differences because they have to release these things at the time the movie comes out, so that they're writing them based on former drafts of screenplays, things like that. But I guess I'll leave it for that minute. But there's some, if you can get your hands on a copy of that comic, it's pretty cool, and you'll see that there's some differences with the money that he's throwing out.
No, we've covered that already. We've brought that up.
Okay. God, I've listened to every episode of the show, and I'm just like totally repeating things that you've already covered.
Hey, I forget things I've said.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
I think when we mentioned the whole, when Vicky asked him, like, oh, what is it you want? And he's like, oh, my face in the $1 bill. And we kind of alluded to, well, later on, there was supposed to be a scene in here where that might have been a thing.
Yeah.
But
and that would have been kind of cool.
I like it as well because Joker says, just before the bit we've said, actually, when he's talking about Grissom, he describes him as a thief and a terrorist, but with a lovely singing voice.
Yeah.
And I was trying to imagine, like, what would Grissom sing? Because is it too obvious and cheesy to assume that it would be something like Sinatra? Because that's the only thing I could come up with.
Wasn't Jack Palance in a musical at one point?
Oh,
or am I totally making that up?
The thing it's because he's an old Hollywood type. It seems like, he would have had all the training. Like if you were a star back then, it seemed like, you had to have you could dance a bit and you could do something. Like you had to be a bit of a triple threat, as it were. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had been.
I'm actually trying to find out as we speak, but it's taken ages to load.
Just imagining though, it's like a creepy like Jack Palance in like West Side Story or something, just like, Maria, I just met a girl. Just like,
well, I have actually found he has an album called Palance by Jack Palance.
Kidding.
Yeah, and it says the description here is the famous big screen tough guy showed his playful side on this, his only album. It's from 1969. It's a wacky country rock vibe. And he's flanked by Nashville's top session men.
I have a feeling we found a hiatus episode right here, John. It was me and you going through this album.
Exactly.
Lyric, like line by line. I think that would be a good breakdown.
Yeah.
Anywho, back to the actual...
Hang on.
Hey.
It's been a while since I've used that.
Yeah, it is.
The one thing I would say is, like, it's still, he's still trying to push this whole, what he's doing is art thing. Because, he does do, like, one thing I am not is a killer. I'm an artist. As if that's going to excuse what he's done or something.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
So the be like, that's what that was. Oh, sorry. We were thinking you were some kind of homicidal maniac for a while.
Man, as backwards as things are in this town, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was like, "Oh, okay, sure, we'll cut him some slack." Or,
We'll roll with
we're going
that.
to cut him some slack. He's given us $20 million in cash, so we'll look past the whole museum incident or Brand X.
Yeah. But I do enjoy because we get then the shots of like the people of Gotham, and the people you're supposed to be like, oh, they must be so encased in fear with this Joker guy around, and
Nope.
none of them care that he's on the TV. It'd be like literally watching like say days after like 9/11 happened and Bin Laden interrupted a broadcast. Everyone just didn't bother listening to what he was saying. It was that kind of like, I'm pretty sure this is fairly important, guys. You might want to just move your head to the right there slightly,
Yeah, right. Look off to the side. That seems to be how it works.
I think in the 80s in movies that took place in big cities, it was like obligatory to have some punks that were like a little over the top. And you're seeing like Sid Vicious sitting out here. And then they show the different demographics standing around. It's something I remember picking up on in Ghostbusters when we were doing Ghostbusters Minute. There's my shameless plug. I guess it was just an 80s thing. Like if you were in a police station, there was always some punk with like a pink mohawk
every time.
Handcuffs being pulled around like, come on, man, I didn't do it.
And why are the punks always criminals? That's what I've never understood.
Yeah, right.
As a fellow punk rocker. I don't understand, because most people into punk aren't like hardened crooks. Like I don't really understand. I think it's the 80s. It's maybe going for that wholesome family value vibe. Like, so you have to demonize these people who are different.
Yeah.
You have to be a good member of society.
Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna say because even they've even got a mix though of the time periods here within just this group of punks. Because like they're all on the bikes and stuff, but then like you got the Sid Vicious looking guy. And the guy next to him with his foot up on his bike, which I'm surprised this has been allowed to slide. Is someone just putting his foot up on his friggin' bike? But this guy just is complete Brando in the Wild One outfit, just all leather and the little kind of cap and stuff. Not quite Brando because it's more of a beret this guy's wearing, whereas he had a proper, sort of village people looking hat. But
similar though.
You get that though of like. The Brando Wild One image now is just automatically, Wally Brando from Twin Peaks as well, of course, it's the same exact outfit.
Yeah. John, I do think that you could rock that look, the Sid Vicious look, I think.
Oh, I have.
While we're on the topic.
I used to a lot more before I started going bald, so that was kind of doesn't have the same vibe to it, when you...
I tell you what, somebody should really do Sid and Nancy Minute. That might be pretty miserable to devote, 6 months of your life to that.
Oh, yeah, I think I'd kill myself at the end. Oh, good movie, though. Good movie.
Oh, great movie.
But even that guy in the beret, I'm getting a bit of a vibe of... kind of Clockwork Orange as well, because they obviously not Malcolm McDowell's character, but one of the other Droogs, and that had a beret. He kind of looked a bit similar to this fella. I don't know if that's a thing that Tim Burton was trying to evoke, but and then though I think there is like an eagle-eyed reference in because some of the other people, because you get the guy shoveling stuff in there, and then we got a shot of this really crowded bar, and that bartender down there at the bottom right, the way he's got his hair parted and that jacket he's wearing and the fact he's got a little bow tie, does he remind either of you two of someone very specific that I'm immediately going for, or?
I'm racking my brain, man.
I'm trying to. It's probably going to be really obvious when you tell us.
I'm thinking he looks exactly like the bartender in The Shining. Like he had that kind of that red jacket and the bow tie and the hair was parted in the middle like that. I was like, I wonder if that is like Burton doing like, well, it's Jack Nicholson. It's like, I like The Shining. Here's a little nod to the.
Wasn't that's Tyrell from Blade Runner?
Yeah.
Same actor, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now, come on, man. I know you can do the whole 6 degrees thing here, and you can tie. Okay, not The Shining to Batman. I think it's pretty clear what the connection there is. But Blade Runner. Can you do that?
I'm sure they will.
Oh, Niall, this is your forte.
Putting you on the spot, man.
Well, I mean, just the tie Blade Runner, the Batman in general is just like, well, Rutger Hauer's in Batman Begins as well.
Okay, there you go.
But
all right, good enough.
Well, obviously as well, one of the thing we've mentioned quite frequently is that Sean Young was Vicky Vale in this for the longest time until she wasn't.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, that's the most obvious one. How did we not think of that?
But the thing is,
are there any stills or anything of her from this movie?
Not that I've been able to dig up. No, I don't, apparently people said like no, there are photographs of them out shooting. I've not come across any thus far.
No, I couldn't find any. I'm sure some listener will send us some
Send
5
them in,
seconds
yeah.
after this airs, going, "Here you go, stupid." Actually, I say that we've never had any bad messages from the listeners. You're all lovely.
As they say that, and they're like, "You don't do your research," and push their glasses up their nose. And...
The weird thing is, though, again, though, this bartender, he seems a bit out of place because this looks like a dive bar. This looks like a real, like it's all smoky and crowded and clustered. It looks like a kind of like a kind of Cheers gone wrong kind of thing. And then this guy's classing it up with this nice little red jacket and bow tie number. It's like, I think you're out of place here, buddy. Like, is he going for like a job interview for like another bar in like 10 minutes? He's like, oh crap, better pour some drinks on my way out here.
I love how too they're I don't know that you see them drinking, but the Gotham City police are at a bar.
Yeah.
Playing cards. Yeah, instead of, out on the beat. So.
I mean, they could maybe be finishing their shift. That's the only thing. I'm playing devil's advocate. Maybe they work the night shift.
It could be like there's a policeman listening to this is like, dude, we don't have to be. There are times when we're not supposed to be on duty.
They're working. They just got off the night shift. They're having their 7 a.m. drink. Come on, cut them some slack.
And that's, the thing is, as you might recall, though, again, in The Dark Knight, there's a whole during the Joker's announcement on the news, and the whole like, the whole thing about I'm gonna close off the blow up the ferries and all that kind of crack. Like when he's on he's getting everyone out of Gotham, and the whole streets are in panic, and he's on the TV. Everyone on the TV's watching, and then there was that cop who was the guy who was complacent in picking up Harvey Dent, and the bartender's like, shouldn't you be out doing something about this? And he's like, I'm on my break or something. Like it's.
Although I got very distracted there because when you said Panic on the Streets of Gotham, I thought to myself, why has nobody done a parody song of Panic on the Streets of London?
Panic on the Streets of Gotham.
If that doesn't exist, someone needs to make it.
I know, it really does.
It's bad climate, though, for any kind of Morrissey reference now.
Oh, God, him as well. Everyone's done something. Jeez. It's, with regards to this, again, going back, I like this. Joker, he says he loves a good party. I mean, he is the party man, as we've established already in great detail.
It says it in the most kind of really sleazy way. It's like, I love a good party.
Yeah, it's a bit... what sort of party is he talking about?
He's going to need... Yeah, going to know... This will be a deep cut reference that only me... Well, you'll get it. You might get it as well, Brady, as you're a Hannibal fan. But you just imagine Mads Mikkelsen sticking his head in and like, it's not that kind of party. Which is a line from season 3 that me and John... But it really took to when that episode.
Oh my God! Right when they're trying to hit him up for the 3-way or whatever, he's like, "It's not that kind of party."
We're not doing that to you. I apologize.
Okay,
it's not that kind of podcast. Really.
It's not. No.
You are in. Let's see. Where are you guys located again?
We're both in Liverpool at the minute.
Both in Liverpool. Okay.
Sometimes I'm back in Ireland as well. We record all over the place, man.
International.
Deep south, United States, in a bayou in Louisiana. So I don't think that's possible. It is not that kind of party.
Oh no.
Thank God.
But Joker, he calls for a truce with the city here as well, which I was thinking, like, imagine this actually happening, right? A criminal calling off hostilities with the authorities and asking for them to do the same, so everyone can just like have a good laugh and have a party. I don't think that would fly somehow. Like, oh, okay. Oh, you're being nice now. Fine. We'll let all that other stuff slide.
Of course we have to bring up a Simpsons reference, but it is just like the cat burglar, but like, and of course I'm happy to return all your possessions. Like, but he's so charming. I'm sorry to spoil this little love-in, but the Joker did just try to poison a whole friggin' city, so I think he's gonna have to still go down.
And he's shot people as well on the steps of City Hall.
That's true. He did do that. Yeah.
He didn't personally. That's the Charlie Manson defense there, isn't it? I didn't do it. I made someone else do it. Still think that's illegal.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, that's against the law.
And he says he has a surprise for Gotham. Ooh, I love surprises. And at midnight, he's going to do something. We don't get to find out because the minute ends. Alas, what will it be? Who knows?
Will we ever find out, John? Will we ever find out what it was going to be?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you could try listening again on Wednesday when we're back, but I mean, we might just do a different minute entirely. We might just jump ahead, see what the mood is in the room at the time.
So we're just like, oh, we're just in the middle of Batman Forever now. We're just jumping all through this whole thing.
Yeah. Screw that last
With
one.
that bit with Bruce Wayne and the weird sleeping doll thing, the Nicole Kidman kid. It's like, that is a thing. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get them to talk about that. What the hell is that thing? But,
Yeah.
That's for 2 years' time.
We'll
So
get
you guys y'all are going full steam. Y'all are doing all 4 of this particular series.
So
or
that
however
is-
you want to call it.
Yeah, that's the plan, the present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's good things to talk about in the second set of 2, I suppose. I like to group them off like that. Yeah. So there's plenty to say. Yeah, for
I'm
good
a
or
I've
big
bad.
had
fan of-
several guests on who have said that Batman and Robin is their favorite of the 4, but not for like the legitimate reasons. They're like, oh, it's the best because it's so crazy. Like it's so much fun. It's so terrible. That's why it's won them over. So.
Right, some kind of maybe novel or nostalgic or some personal that they got to it. I actually really like Batman Forever quite a bit. It's definitely not without its shortcomings, but that's everything, really. And
Yeah.
Well, you
and
can be
one
a
of the
regular
upcoming-
guest on that one then.
yeah, there we go. Because we're not going to have anybody else. So, yeah.
Does anyone have anything else actually before I wrap up the minute?
No, I think that's
it for me. Yeah.
Okay. So before we head off into the dark, dark night, Brady, would you like to tell our good listeners where they can find you online or your good work that you've done?
Absolutely. Pele Media, that's Pele media.com is where you can find some resources of what we've done. But we also have all of our former podcasts still up available on iTunes, and that is Jurassic Park Minute, Ghostbusters Minute, and Goonies Minute. And we also produced a sports podcast called Undrafted, which is, if sports are your thing, there you go. Not my thing, but that's why I was just the producer, not the host.
Well, that's all good stuff because Ghostbusters Minute to me was a big inspiration to do my own podcast.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
That's
well,
good to
not
hear.
my own. Niall's just here as a.
I was like, well, what podcast is this, John? I don't
Because
know.
there was an episode where you said, just get a mic and some headphones and do it, and I was like, yeah, I should.
Yeah.
And that was a big inspiration. So thank you, and everyone should check
Well, cool.
that out.
Thanks, man. I'm glad to hear.
And check us out as well, because we are all over the internet, I'm sure you know by now. We are on Facebook at the BatMinute89 Listeners Society, and we are on Twitter at BatMinute89. And you can also find us on Instagram as well. We pretty much just post the same thing there as we do on the Facebook, to be fair, but whatever. Whatever platform is your bag, find us.
No, you're talking about, John. It's a magical wonderland over on the
We're
Instagram page.
hitting all these targets, though, And join us again on Wednesday, because we will be back for more Batman with Minute 86. See you then.
Next time, to pause a hero, as our malicious mountebank makes a multi-million-dollar cathode tube parade ruse, will a fearsome finger of justice freeze frame on his fiendish frontispiece? Find out Wednesday, same Bat Pod.
Different Bat Minute.